obviously there's an attraction, but like, let's make sure we're healed and we completely close off and resolve whatever needs to be resolved from the past so that when and if we do decide to take it there, it can be pure and there's nothing that's bubbling up that hasn't already been dealt with. And that to me is so fire and so hot. And so that excites me, right? Because that to me is what I would call like a sacred divine union, right? We're not going to rush into just whatever, right? We see alignment, but we're going to make sure we clean up what needs to be cleaned up first. Bro, I
Welcome.
appreciate you, man. You've been here staying solid. Your boy's been going through some shit, both technically with this sound and the life he's been here holding it down, bro. This is being solid. I appreciate you, man.
I mean, I'm doing my best. We both have our stuff, and honestly, the break that you needed was kind of perfect for me. Has been kind of perfect for me.
Yeah.
Of just needing to recalibrate and refocus. So I'd love to talk about it though. I know that like release-wise, it really shouldn't affect how often we're releasing this pause that we've taken. But just for the audience sake, we haven't recorded in what, 2 weeks?
Yeah, about 2 weeks.
Yeah, so we've skipped 2 weeks. We've talked a little bit in between, but I'd really love to be able to like dive in what's going on and what you've gotten through this experience recently.
Sure. Yeah, to be simple, I went through a breakup about a month ago, and I think just struggled with some of the things that come with a breakup, but also too, this last relationship, person I was with, amazing person, no hard feelings at all. She brought up a lot of my deepest insecurities around mother wounds, around belonging, and that's around, if I were to point to stuff that has to do with my root, sacral, and solar plexus chakras, me being in my power, just so much. And this whole process has been honestly very, very empowering because in order for me to work through it, I've had to work through some things that I never had to really face before. And honestly, if we hadn't broken up, I wouldn't have the opportunity to be who I am today because she helped me to work through this relationship, this connection, then losing that connection, helped me to work through so many different things around attachment, codependency, feeling like, yeah, one, she helped me to feel like I belong. She's the first person who made me really feel that, I belong, especially belonging in the Black community, and that, I was fine just the way that I was, right? The first person I really dated who, made that impact on me. And I think in losing that, I wasn't fine for a little bit. I didn't know, I didn't have a sense of feeling normal. And I just wanted to, recalibrate and find a sense of normalcy in my life. And what's beautiful is like when her and I met, I was very focused just on my spiritual path, very focused on, things like this podcast and creatorhood and different books that I was reading, the Ascended Masters and working with angels. And she is a much more grounded person, much more in the 3D world. And in losing her, I realized, I mean, when I say losing her, like we had more of a mutual breakup, but in this separation, realizing the parts of my life that was out of balance. I think that it was necessary for me to focus on my spiritual path. And I also was reminded how much I love to go out once in a while, to just hang out with my guy friends, have a guys night out, do simple things that I used to do in my 20s and maybe before that, and but all within balance, right? I still do all my angelic work and ascended master work, and I still read the books and all those things, but it was around like, okay, there's some gaps here, because one thing I'll say about my ex is that she has a very well-balanced life, friends, community, all those different things. So for her, it was easier for her to keep things going because she already had other things going. With me, it was like work, my spiritual walk, and it was like her, right? And that was very evident. So I'm very excited to be back and focused. I'm almost back to 100%. I'm probably at like 85% focus right now, and just to just be a newer, more balanced or harmonized version of myself.
I'm
So
glad to have you back.
yeah, man. Thank you, brother. I
And thanks for
appreciate that.
sharing all that. So I'm curious if you're willing to dive in a little bit more about it. What a lot of these realizations have been not only bringing up, but are they making changes? Have you been making changes around them?
Yeah.
How are you utilizing a lot of these understandings? Like you mentioned, going out more and having guys' nights.
sure.
And now you're seeing this like balancing between that and like this spiritual side.
Yeah, for sure. One thing is there's this app, it's called Bumble, but Bumble BFF. And so Bumble BFF is a way to find other guy friends or girlfriends, but guy friends that want to do the same things as you. And so I have a lot of friends that I grew up with. A lot of them I've lost touch with, whether they're married. Some are married, some don't like to go out as much. And I used to, like going back 10 years, I used to always have a crew, always would have somebody to do whatever with. And so part of me recalibrating and rebalancing my life was like, let me find one or two guys that we have alignment with, that we align on kind of things that we want to do and around having fun and also on the business side. And like, let me see how it is. So I've actually I met the first guy last weekend. We had a great, amazing time. We went to this Afro Beats party. Then this other guy, Andre, I'm going to meet him on Friday. We're doing like another Afro Beats type thing in Brooklyn. So far we seem really aligned. This guy's like pretty successful. He travels a lot. He's like, hey, would you like to travel? Do all these different things. And I think it's important to have, you know, people outside of your significant other that you can do these things with, right? Whether you're whether you have a significant other or not, it just really adds such another layer of depth and community to life. So I've been finding that super helpful. And then I still do my prayers in the morning. I still do my walks, right? I still have, my job that I've been pretty consistent with. And, even that's been awesome too. Like, part of my job is going out, meeting people in person. And we had this company happy hour with a partner, with a reseller, a person that, a company that helps us to sell our products. And this one guy, he's a month into the job. He's around my age, and he's big into like mountain biking and working out and fitness. And so we were able to really connect there. I'm like, dude, we're going mountain biking. Right. So just to have these different, to have a network of people with you on all these different levels, whether it's professional, whether it's, just purely go out and have fun, whether it's a significant other, just to have this flavor, all this variety in life, I found it to be so helpful. Another helpful thing is, speaking of variety, when I work out, I've been varying my workouts. And so one of the things that me and this guy at the happy hour were connecting on was this idea of like training like an athlete. And so in us training like an athlete, it's brought so much more fun to working out. And like, I'm challenging myself and I'm not getting bored doing the same old workout. And honestly, anyone can do this because we have ChatGPT. So ChatGPT creates these workouts for us. So every single month, my workout changes, and it's been so much fun, right? So thankful to my ex Faith, right? She has so much variety in life, and she does all those things. All the things that I mentioned, she does that. Also, too, cooking, right? That's another thing too. It's like having a sense of normalcy. Another thing that I love that she did. But I was like, man, no, I used to cook too. Why did I stop cooking? So just different things that help me to, like, different parts of myself that she had reflected to me, bring that back into my life has been so beautiful. And I walk with a higher level of confidence than before I had, dated this person, which is such a beautiful thing. So I'm feeling bigger, better than ever, more focused. And I think when a breakup is handled, when you deal with those dark, heavy emotions and you go through with it, I think it's an empowering situation. Honestly, if we had stayed together, I don't think I'd be this person. I'm more happy with who I am today, and also staying true to my values. Here's another thing too, I'll say. We split up because we were not aligned, ironically, with faith, right? With how we express and share our faith and how that looks in our lifestyles. And I say that because what I realized, I know we talked about alignment in previous episodes, but you can have all the love in the world, strong connection, all those things, but if there's not an alignment on core values, and if there's a lack of willingness in alignment on core values, man, that shit can get real confusing real fast. So for me, in this new period of my life, and meeting these people through Bumble BFF and going to these happy hours for work, and whoever I end up dating seriously next, the first thing I'm looking for is alignment. I know people, we might, the common way to say is like, what do you have in common with somebody else? I want to use a stronger word, which is alignment. Where do we align? Because where there's alignment, there's flow. And I saw firsthand how things got stopped because there wasn't alignment in some core areas. There's alignment in other areas and more peripheral values, things that weren't weighted as much. If you were to look at the number of things that we aligned on, there was more that we aligned on that did not. But it was the core things, the things that meant the most where we didn't align. And that was the interesting part. So my lesson is learned, right? So when I'm talking to people, that is like the first thing, because it's like, man, I don't want to go through a situation like that again, where I really care for somebody, I really love somebody, and it's mutual and it can't work because it's not alignment.
I think that's funny how so often we hop in relationships or friendships for such surface level things and we ignore the big aspects so much. I know, well, I say we, but really, of course, can only talk about me. I have so much early dating history with my ex-wife. We had a good bit of things
Mm,
in alignment and in common, but I was also so young and she was a little younger than me. I got married at 25, she was 23.
mm,
And so like really didn't even understand who I was at the time. So I couldn't have said what are my core values. I would have said some off the wall and not thought out and very much not true, definitely not solid things. And then with my ex, I very much felt that there were so many things that were in alignment that it was so confusing to me why things weren't.
mm, mm.
But that's also just how it goes sometimes. And so when things are shouting and becomes obvious that, hey, you shouldn't be together, it's a thing to just listen to. Which is why now I'm taking much more time with things and really trying to get to know people so I can better understand who they are and preserve a friendship if an interest doesn't go much deeper. But I find it so interesting how people are so quick to jump on just attraction.
Yeah,
Because attraction is fantastic and it's good, but attraction deepens so much more when you're aligned on things and when you get along and you enjoy hanging out and you just enjoy being in the presence of somebody.
yeah.
I've talked to so many friends where we'll talk about people that we like or our types and agree that 9 times out of 10, someone can be really attractive and then destroy it in moments, depending on their
Okay.
personality and who they are and how they comport themselves.
100%.
Just physically gorgeous inside,
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden, you're not so attracted. And it goes the other way too.
yeah.
I dated this girl in high school. She was my first long relationship. I think it was about 2 years. And I remember people talking to me, especially after the relationship, about how I was so much more attractive than she was.
Mm,
And I shouldn't have dated somebody so much less attractive than me.
yeah,
One, it was insulting to, I think, like rating somebody like that.
yeah,
But I found her attractive. And then her personality and the way that we joked and the way like our rapport together was so nice and so fun that all of that attraction just deepened even more.
mm,
Eventually a lot of that kind of waned because I mean I was in high school, I was young, but that sticks out to me. I was just yeah, having that really great connection, a really good a shared sense of humor,
yeah,
things that you both enjoy
yep.
doing or that you can at least appreciate of the other person, just deepening it so much.
100%. 100%. It's crazy. I was thinking about, you mentioned the one person who you had so many things in alignment, you weren't sure like how you guys weren't aligned or something to that effect. I was thinking about that earlier because, we dated a similar person like that. And I was thinking, well, I think where the alignment stopped is like how we handle conflict. Um, And so when conflict, because if we're aligned on spiritual things and on how we like to have fun and, all these other things, for me, that connection I was similar to the one that you're talking about, it was like when conflict would arise, it was like the other person that I was with would look for faults and, and would find one and then it would kind of go to shit. I would say conflict was where we didn't align. So okay. So think areas where I feel people should have alignment in a relationship, and it may vary relationship to relationship. But for me, I'm going to say this: alignment in how we handle conflict. I would say my most recent relationship, my Faith was pretty good with that, right? Handling conflict, faith, how we express our faith, our spirituality, having some alignment there, financially and like lifestyle, right? And so I know that maybe there's some overlap between some of those, but I would say if there's alignment there, how we handle conflict, faith, what do we say?
And you
Spiritual,
said financial and lifestyle.
financial and lifestyle. And lifestyle could also include like how you like to eat and, fitness, all that stuff. I would say, it probably stands a pretty good chance. And so, being full disclosure, right? I've started, I'm still healing. And also at the same time, I have started having exploratory conversations, right? And so not rushing into anything to your point, but having conversations around like alignment, right? And this one person who I'm speaking to now, I won't name her, but in the first 15 minutes of our conversation, we were having the types of conversations I had been wanting to have in my previous relationship, right? And I was just like floored because it wasn't something that had to be brought up. It just kind of happened, and things flowed, pretty well, right? And so, we've been honest about where I'm at and where she's at, and we kind of both are coming out of something like a few months ago. That being said, we're like, okay, there's a connection here, but let's take our time. Let's develop the friendship. Let's not move too quickly when it comes to intimacy. Obviously, there's an attraction, but like, let's make sure we're healed and we completely close off and resolve whatever needs to be resolved from the past, so that when and if we do decide to take it there, it can be pure and there's nothing that's bubbling up that hasn't already been dealt with. And that to me is so fire and so hot. And so that excites me, right? Because that to me is what I would call like a sacred divine union, right? We're not going to rush into just whatever, right? We see alignment, but we're going to make sure we clean up what needs to be cleaned up first. And that's exciting. So,
yeah. You brought that sacred divine union
yes.
up, and it's something that I hear in spiritual circles all the time. And sometimes I feel that people understand what they're saying and are really striving for that. And sometimes I feel like it is a statement of, I heard other people say this and it sounds cool and it sounds good. And so it always kind of cracks me up, because then as I'm wanting to get to know the person, and then you kind of determine, or you can better feel out whether, okay, yeah, this person truly understands what they're talking about, and this person heard it as a buzzword. But I was listening to one of Kevin Walton's lives, and it got brought up,
Yeah.
and he was talking about how when you're in alignment on a lot of these aspects that you've already mentioned, and then when like the masculine and feminine are in aligned proportion with each other. And so, of course, not talking about what's between your legs, but who is upholding the masculine pole, who is upholding the feminine pole, and then allowing for those to shift in moments as need be, and not have stagnation, and really being able to operate from a pure place in that interflow and living towards your mutual greatness and the greatness of all,
Yeah, for
the
sure.
liberation of all. And so I love that description of it, and that way of thinking about it. Everything's in alignment, from your energy to, like you were talking about, your values, the way you handle conflict, and these conversations that you should be having early. Because I think that, or not I think that, but I've had a few conversations with Kevin about these things, and it'll come up, and he basically talks about how, like, when you're interested in someone, you should basically interview them and like run through these, like, okay, when you're upset, how do you handle when you're mad, and when you're excited, how do you react, and all of these things. And like, there's been little moments where I've tried it out, but also I haven't really been with anybody or trying to be with anybody to really attempt it, or like to have that opportunity. So I'm curious, since you said that you've already had some of these conversations that you would have liked to have before. You don't have to go into too much detail, but I am curious what that looked like.
Yeah, so I mean, this might give people some red flags, but we talked about like finances and lifestyle up front, because I think the girl that I'm dating or talking to now, she comes from a pretty good situation. She's got a pretty nice lifestyle, and she's dated guys that have had great hearts, but like long term, like there's a certain I guess she's looking for the guy to be a provider at some level, right? And so we define, what does that mean to you? What are you looking like? What are you looking for? Are you looking for like a sugar daddy? Let's define what this means to you. When you say lifestyle, what are you looking for your man to do? One of her love languages is gifts. For me, that was a red flag of, okay, sounds like a gold digger. But when we dug into it more, I was like, oh yeah, no, that's something I would do for someone who I love and care about anyways, right? So once we defined what this is, and she even mentioned one of her exes thought that she needed a lot more than what she needed, but so he just overassumed and just started buying random stuff that he didn't need to buy to impress her. And that's not even what she wanted, right?
Oh, interesting. So you caught it as a red flag, or a potential red flag, but then when y'all dove into it, you got to a place of understanding.
Yeah.
So you were seeing it as like, buy me big, expensive things. And what was she more
I
meaning it
mean,
as?
it's things like, we go on a date. I take care of the date, right? And then not that she doesn't do stuff too, but it's just like she's looking for the man to be the provider in a relationship, and I think there's still some stuff to clear up there because I don't want to misspeak. She's looking for, she doesn't want to have to necessarily downgrade her lifestyle because her man isn't at a certain level. So she's looking for a man that is spiritual, but also who is business savvy and who can not like embody abundance in multiple ways, right? And what I realized with her too is what made me feel at peace with this is I saw how she pours into me, her feminine essence and her energy and like way she would like touch me and all those things. And it's priceless how empowered I feel. So to me, it's like whatever you want, you can have it because of how you're making me feel, your level of consciousness, and how you create this like flow with, help to assist this flow within myself. I know that I can manifest whatever I want in that type of connection. So I don't care. Like whatever you like, whatever it would cost financially is less than the value that she's giving. It's a priceless thing, right? And that's not everyone who I've dated. There's certain people who I've dated who I would never want to do some of these things for because I felt like I was getting short on the stick. But when the synergy, when the energy, when the resonance and the alignment is that good, it doesn't matter because, a good woman's going to help you take whatever you're making or spending, and she's going to help you take whatever you have, and she's going to help you multiply it. So why should she not get a piece of that? That's the feeling I have with her. Like it doesn't matter how much I'm spending because I'm making so much more because of the flow that we have, the alignment that we have. And so that's kind of what came out of it. It's like, yo, I'm not, everything that you're saying around the type of life you want to live and all this stuff, like that doesn't scare me because I see like she's not, she gives in ways that are very, very intangible. And also sometimes financial, but it's like, she's definitely not like a 50 financial girl, right? She probably wants the man taking care of more of it. But what she would give me through her feminine nurturement, bro, I don't give a fuck. Like, sure, whatever you want, okay, cool, right? Yeah, and that's just how I feel about it, man. So, and to even add, like, I want to be that guy. Like, I don't want my woman to be in her masculine. I've dealt with that so much from my mother, the women that I've dated. I want my woman to not have to worry about finances, to be able to relax, want to cook, to want to make the house look pretty, to want to do all the things that make life beautiful. I don't want them stressing out. So I generally want to take on that role. And as long as she's willing to meet me where I'm at as I build towards that and we have goals and we progress towards the goals and we have check-ins to make sure we're progressing towards those goals, then that's golden and that's good, right? And we had those conversations early, like early. And it was so early and flowed so much that I was like, is this a scam? And then we had a more recent conversation around, hey, listen, let's make sure these previous chapters in our lives are closed first, right? Let's like, we know the connections there. Let's be friends. And that was my favorite conversation because I'm like, that's how I know this is a real thing. That made it even so much more real to me. Like right there, no one's trying to scam the other person. We're not like, we had a very real conversation about where we're at and kind of where we want to go. The other thing, bro, around Sacred Divine Union, she put me on to, I already knew about hypnotherapy, but she has a specific hypnotherapist. This guy's name is John Connolly. He's amazing. And he has these calls on Monday nights, right? And so she's been, I don't know how long she's been on calls, but I go on a call. I joined this past Monday's call and we were on there, man. And I actually got to, like 5 or 6 people got to ask a question. I was one of those 5 or 6 people. And mine was like on abundance versus lack. And when my mind goes towards lack, how do I put it back towards the things that I do have and focusing on abundance? And he gave a great example. And we heard other people go too, like someone's husband committed suicide, right? All these serious things. And he's helping them work through it through hypnotherapy, right? And we did that together. And I said, man, if we can do this type of shit together, I already know I'm not worried about anything else because these are the tools that you need to grow and learn and to heal and to create and to manifest. And like that, those are early signs of the things that I have been wanting, I've been praying for, right? So again, nothing's written in stone, but like from an early alignment standpoint, very aligned. To contrast that with my ex, we knew that we were not aligned on our faith in the very beginning. We almost didn't go on our first date because we knew we weren't aligned. So we have my last relationship, we knew we weren't aligned in faith. We knew that this could be an issue to this new situation where we are super aligned on faith. And it's like, damn, I've been praying to have these conversations, right? So just early on, pretty good signs, right? So
yeah.
Damn. Yeah, bro.
That's so beautiful how you said that. In the beginning, you knew that y'all weren't aligned on faith.
We both knew.
Even though there was so much that was good about it, there was still that. And that was a fundamental piece of being with somebody, of building a life with somebody.
Yeah.
I know that there's plenty of people who make it work and have beautiful lives and whatnot, who aren't aligned in faith. I remember though, when I was like mid college, I dated someone for a little while that was very Christian, and I was very much still in this pseudo atheist kind of place where really I believed that everything was a piece of the all. I just didn't really understand much about what I saw and what I understood. And I really hadn't dove into anything that I've studied now. I really hadn't done any of the like understanding that I have now. I was really just kind of going on my own of like, I know and I believe that everything that's alive is God. And I didn't have a very good way of explaining it. So everyone was just like, so you're atheist. Like, but I know I don't believe what you believe. And that was a thing that came up early on that we didn't know how we would function. And it was actually an early conversation that she was like, look, I really like you, but like, I want to be dating and looking for a husband. And so like, and I would want a husband who would want to raise children in the same way. And I used examples of other people who, you know, don't align in these ways. And I was like, for me, I'm okay with my kids going to church. At the time, I was like, I'm okay with my kids going to any church. The only thing I would require first is for them to be able to accurately define what brainwashing is. And then they're free to go. Do whatever you want. Just be able to understand what brainwashing is and you're good. So that way, now I have this litmus test of if people are teaching for out of love rather than fear. And then if people are teaching for the greater liberation and growth of the people that they're teaching, or if they're teaching for their own
Self-aggrandizement.
just self-aggrandizement. Yes. Thank you. If they're teaching for those things, no, or any combination that isn't out of love and for other people's growth, other people's liberation. Because there's combinations of the other ones that seem beautiful, but they're maybe based in fear. And so, And so as long as like they can do this, like I'm good with that. Then I want them to make their own decisions. If that's what they believe, cool. And if it's not, okay. And I still very much feel the same that if my children want to go and like go to services for things that I don't believe or I feel might be some form of brainwashing, I would want them to be able to define what brainwashing is and be hopefully looking for these litmus tests. But beyond that, I wouldn't be trying to say this is what you must believe, or I have no intention to. But now now that I've solidified myself in my faith of the all, and that so much of the religions and beliefs of the world are distortions of how everything is all connected and it's all together, but it was seen through this lens or it was seen through that lens, and people just said, oh yeah, mine is the only way, and that's what caused that separation. Now that I'm in this point, I'm also like, well, if you're learning how to love and you're learning how to grow and you're helping other people do the same, cool. We're good. But I also know that I would not be able to be with somebody who is strictly atheist. I wouldn't be able to be with somebody who felt that the Christian teachings is the only thing and everybody else is going to hell. Or if anyone were as ardent about Islam or as ardent about Hinduism or anything. I briefly dated this woman who was part of the Hare Krishna belief, and we seemed so aligned in a lot of things until it started really coming around to conversations around this. And the more that she would talk about her faith, the more I was just kind of like, yeah, you really just sound like a lot of the really hardcore Christians that I grew up with. Just very much just like, no, we're right. You're all wrong. That's the end of that.
It's so crazy, man. And the limitation that we can put on ourselves with religion and religious dogma, it has to be this way. And man, the way I connect to God is different than how you connect to God, even though there may be some similarities. Like we all connect to God in potentially a slightly different way. And we talked about this before, but really need to look at religion, I believe, as a framework, as a way to connect to God, but then make it our own. Right? I'm not saying go down some dark path. I'm saying it's going to be more real when it's your own way, when you're able to connect to God authentically yourself. It's really it, you know?
To me, I really now value the statement in the Bible, God is love. To me, that is the most important statement in that entire book. To me. of course. And I haven't done deep dive studies in many of the other major religions, but the conversations that I've had with believers,
Yeah.
even checking in with ChatGPT, love tends to be the top tenet of all of them. And then service to others and charity and things like that tend to be those like next up big, like big hitters when it comes to the commonalities of the major religions. And what I believe, what I observe so often is just when this attitude of you're all wrong and going to hell and or whatever that belief is saying that is going to happen to somebody, rather than holding somebody else that doesn't agree with you in love and loving them anyways. When that happens, that's when I get scared and stressed out, honestly, about it, because I feel like I don't really know what to do much anymore, except just continue to ask questions out of love. And it's about all I can do, and it's about all I do now.
Yeah.
But that one experience with briefly dating a woman who is very ardent about her Hare Krishna beliefs really sealed it for me of, all right, if somebody does have some particular faith, I need to know where they stand when it comes to holding other people in love.
Yeah. I love what you said too, about, you know, things that you look for and don't look for around religion. And faith and, you know, God and all that. I think for me, one thing I look for is people who like are seeking truth, who want to question things, who are curious and don't just take things at face value, wanting to know the truth, wanting to see, okay, the Christian religion says this. Does it uphold? If I look at it from this angle, if I read this other book on this topic and I compare both viewpoints, which one seems to be more true? If I were to then take it even further, what seems to be the truth? Because if it's the truth, it'll stand up no matter what. So why are we so afraid to second guess things if it's the truth? Why are we so
Yeah.
defensive if it's the truth? Because the truth doesn't have to defend itself, right? And so that's the thing. That's where I lose people,
Yep.
and where maybe people back up for me is because there's not a true sense of seeking truth and upholding truth.
I brought that point up to so many people who either are upset that I studied other things. So my family for quite a long time, they were very upset about me studying other things. And for a while, I definitely didn't believe anything that they believed. More recently, I've come back to a point of, no, I believe a good bit of it. And it's not in the same way that you guys do, because I know how I was raised and I know that they've stuck with that. My siblings may have shifted a bit, but I know that with my parents. But I've had this conversation with them that if you guys believe the truth, why is it such a problem that we talk about it, that I bring up other things? Because what are you worried about?
100%.
Then I'm just going to be wrong. So where is all this tension? Where is all this animosity coming from?
100%.
If you already have and know the truth, then like, what's the worry?
100%. 100%. That is
But it's
so
there.
that is so real. That is such a real thing. Truth seekers are people that want to understand how this reality is created. Are there other dimensions? Like, what's really out there? What is it that makes what we see? Is it real? Is it fake? Is it a holograph? Can we explore that? And honestly, it puts me back. There's a childlike innocence about it too. We're looking at this light. I have these lights here. Oh, this light. Like, what is this light? Like, what makes up that light? Like, why is it so bright? Why does it, like, when it shines on my skin, I have this like melanated tone that comes off of my skin, and like, why is that, right? And just literally questioning the makeup of everything, man. Yeah, I think it's a beautiful thing, and there's so much fun in it to me. And I think sometimes I know that's from past relationships that sometimes that's not. It's like, why do you care about that? Let's focus on making some money or going out, which I like those things too. But to really question our reality and our existence is like, man, I could do that all day.
I see in here a deep sense of wonder in that. And what I wonder is whether or not they saw it in that same way, or if they just saw it as, you said, just go get some money. Whereas I hear this beautiful sense as like a childlike wonder about being alive and being around. And I love that. There was quite a long time that I felt very about so much, just down about so many things, hopeless about things, that now as I've gotten back to a steady point and a solid point in loving myself, taking care of myself, I've been able to rebuild that sense of wonder. And while I don't typically ask those same type questions of the why and how
Mhm.
as much anymore, because those were questions I definitely had a lot when I was younger. Now my sense of wonder just comes into the pure experience of it
Mm.
and the beauty of that. Following my intuition of like, I want to go climb that tree. I'm gonna go do that. Excuse me,
Mm.
and go do that.
Mhm.
I want to go get in that waterfall.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go do that now. Excuse me. And
Mhm.
not holding yourself back, but being in that childlike, not really asking for permission.
Mm.
This seems like a good idea. I'm gonna go do that because I want that experience.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, man. I love that you said that. And that's been something I've been getting back to, right? As I've been exploring life as I'm still technically I'm single and just exploring life as a bachelor is like what wants to come through right now. What gives me the most excitement in my heart? Like this idea. Like so recently it's been going to Brooklyn and, to like some Afrobeats party. I've been really enjoying that. And just being able to dance and just being around a diverse crowd of people is fun right here and there, right? I start to come back and meditate and do my prayers, but it's man to go out and just explore parts of Brooklyn I've never been to and walk the streets and see all these people like excited and some people know each other, some people are complete strangers. And how do we all mix together and the ebbs and flow of the crowds when people come together, when people come apart, when there's dance circles that form? All these things are like, I like watching all of it, right? And it's like, am I going to honor what brings me joy in this moment? Or am I going to not honor that? And so that's been fun to honor those things. Going out to Brooklyn last weekend and having such a good time. And I didn't get back till like 3 or 4 a.m. in the morning and not feeling guilty about it. Just be like, damn, I had so much fun. Woke up a little bit later, but got work done. Started a productive day, but I had some fun, man. And then balance. I don't want to go do it a second night in a row, but it's like once a week,
Yeah.
once every other week. Yeah, I like that.
We are getting a little bit older, so
Yeah,
different considerations have to come in.
100%.
But I love that, and I've been doing that same thing of just when I want to go do things, when I want to have an experience, to go do them.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other side of that, when I don't, not to.
100%.
So on Thursday nights, there's this thing here in Atlanta. It's Beltline Social Club, and I've gone a few times, and it's been a lot of fun. You just go and meet people, just hang out and
Mm-hmm.
chat.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole point of it. Some people will go to other places afterwards and do other things afterwards. I mostly just go, hang out, go home because I mean, it's on a Thursday night and I have work on
Yep.
Friday morning.
Yep.
And I'm not trying to go function at work with 3 or 4 hours of sleep. I like my 6 to 8,
Mhm.
mostly 8. I really value that. But when there's things like you mentioned Afrobeats parties a couple times now, and this Saturday I'm going to one. There's one here in Atlanta that I
Nice.
absolutely love called Timbre Party.
Nice.
They started a mini series of Sola Luna.
Mhm.
And so they start early.
Let's
They
go.
start at 5 and
Yeah.
they get done at 10.
Yeah.
And I love that because then
You back.
you're done early.
Exactly. Exactly.
But I love those parties because I just dance. So many people go for the community, for just dance of expression
Yes.
and as worship.
Yes. Yes.
And there's several people there now that like I don't really know them all that well. Really, I don't know them, but like we recognize each other, we see each other, we hug,
Mhm.
we hang out a little bit, we dance together, and we go on about our way. And it's just so good to just go be part of community.
Mm.
Like you had said at the beginning of the episode with this whole Bumble BFF and just finding people who enjoy these same
Mhm.
things and being with people for friendship and having that community aspect is so good. And it's something that like with my men's group, I've really valued when it flows well, when we
Mhm.
have a solid group of guys showing up that
Mhm.
are there to do the thing. That sense of community that we can build is beautiful.
Yeah.
And when they don't show up, it's sad to me because I'm there wanting to build community and
Mhm.
have community, and it's there for them as well. And it's tragic to me because I've seen the value of community and just how much it brings to your life, how much richness it brings to your
Mm.
life. And I know, of course, that some men are just busy. And then there's other men who are doing it because I just so stressed, I shut down. And I've done that and I've had that. But it's the times when I have the most community and the best community that I'm able to like thrive through it and with it. So going to like Timbre Party, like a few of the men from my men's group are going to that. I'm really
Nice.
excited about it.
Nice.
A good friend of mine, I've been spending a lot of time with recently. I asked her if she wanted to go, and she probably won't because she's getting a PhD, and so she wants to use that time to study. I was like, oh, good.
Mhm.
It's here, it's there. But then making these plans, so seeing an old friend that I hadn't seen in several months, and we went paddleboarding together and we just caught up. She told me about a guy that she had seen for a little while and it didn't really go well, but how she grew from that. And I told her about similar things about my past
Mm.
for these last several months and like how I've been growing. And it was such a good time just to have that reconnection. Just I'm just loving this aspect and this kind of era of my life of just looking for and having friends for the sake of friendship, men and women. I've always believed that men and women can be friends. You just have to be
Mm.
clear about
Mhm.
what this is and what this is not.
Mhm.
And as long as you have that clarity, then you can have a friendship. And so now that I'm also in a place of feeling really happy and satisfied being single, and yes, I want something. There is someone I'm interested in, and I'm okay with seeing where that goes. I'm also finally in this point of not worrying about rushing it or anything
Mhm.
and recognizing that, yeah, this person might want something, but I don't want that with them.
Mm.
So that's going to be my choice. I'm going to be clear on that and let that be.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
they're here for friendship, cool. And if not,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. For me, alignment, flow, structure, being too rigid are all things that have been coming up, right? And so me one of my things is that sometimes I can get too rigid in what I'm doing, and so I'm not flowing. Or
Right.
sometimes I can be too aimless in what I'm doing, and so I'm just all over the place. And finding that balance of having the proper structure in my life so that I can just flow, and that's in all areas, right? And with the relationships, right? Coming back to alignment, I'm finding how things are flowing better for me now as I'm having more aligned conversations and making that a focus. And it's almost like I'm calling that into my life and just watching how the depth that I've been wanting to experience more often has become more present because it's been a focus. You can quickly find out where somebody's out on something just by asking them what they think about it and talking about it, and kind of just you guys open up to each other and you seeing, like I said, where those commonalities lie. Yeah, man. So it's just been a beautiful thing, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. And when things don't flow, paying attention as to why that is as well. I'm excited, man. I'm excited for you. I really feel like there have been times for myself where I felt like, damn, I'm not really living my life. And there's been times where I've looked at you, Jaguar. I'm like, dang, like I feel like he wants to get more out of life. But like what I'm sensing is that we're finding as two single men we're finding like ways to live our best life, right? And it
Ain't
still
no
be
reason to
purposeful.
wait for somebody else to
100%.
give permission for you to live your best life.
100%. 100%.
I agree. There's been times where I felt that you are so much more dedicated or more deep into like your spiritual journey than I am at times. And like, there's been those moments of like, man, like this is awesome. And like just using that as a little bit of fuel. And like
Mhm.
in moments it becomes shame of just like, oh, I should do more. But it's a really cool interplay that I found. And then seeing some of your stories recently of you going out, I've just found myself being really proud of you,
Mm,
of going out and allowing yourself to have fun.
I appreciate that, bro.
Because it's something that I've been trying to encourage in a lot of people of enjoy your fucking life.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Are things exactly the way you want it? Maybe not. But why should that stop you from enjoying what it is and
Yeah.
enjoying where you're at?
Yeah. One thing I'm finding is that with this call for alignment in my life is that the life that I want to have with the alignment comes the feelings that I want to feel. And then the more that I feel it, the more I hold those feelings and those frequencies, the more my outer experience tends to match that. And so what I'm finding now is I have all these things to look forward to that are in alignment with what I want to do with having fun and with my purpose and with, yeah, with having fun, with having purpose. And I'm like, damn, like my life I like my life again now. Like when the breakup first happened, it was kind of like, damn, like what's going on? It's just all over the place. Now I'm like,
Yeah.
damn, I got two friends off of Bumble BFF, right? My friends who I've already have got you with the podcast, got some cool people. So it's damn, those gaps are filling in pretty quick when there's a focus on alignment. And that's the thing is when things align, watch how fast life accelerates in a good way, right? So sometimes slowing down to make sure there's alignment. Once you know there's that alignment, it's like, damn,
Yeah.
watch out for the takeoff.
I'm excited for that, for things to be taken off in many ways of mine as well.
Yes, sir, brother. Yes, sir, brother. Do you feel complete? You want to keep going?
Feel complete.
Love it, man. Thanks for tuning in to Building Consciousness with Jaguar and Jay, where we explore spiritual concepts and aim to break them down in a practical way for everyday use. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on future content. If you have thoughts or questions, drop a comment below or connect with us on Instagram, jdoss545 and build_with_Jaguar. We love to hear from you. Until next time, stay curious, stay inspired, and remember, we are the authors of our own reality. This is Jaguar and Jay, signing off.